Good afternoon and welcome to the Lunchroom on Radio Caribbean International. It's Wednesday, the 7th of August, 2024. This is program number 1226 of the Lunchroom. I'm your host, Calix George Jr. Now, in addition to 101.1 FM radio, you can also get us at our website, rcisaintlucia.com. We're also streaming live on Facebook. Just search for the official page of Radio Caribbean International. And please be sure to like and share that link as well with your friends and family. Now, of course, if you want to call in to tell us what's on your plate today, the number to do so is 452 3046. Again, 452 3046. And you can also get us on WhatsApp. That is 724 0008. You can message in or call in to that number on WhatsApp. Again, it is 724 0008. Now, a bit of a look into history for today. Back in the year 1461 AD, the Ming Dynasty, the Ming Chinese Dynasty, that is, military general Cao Qin staged a coup against the Tianshun Empire. In the year 1714, on this day, the Battle of Gangut saw Russia's navy winning its first major victory during the Great Northern War against Sweden. In the year 1933, on this day, the Iraqi government forces slaughtered over 3,000 Assyrians in the village of Simele in northern Iraq. And it's commemorated as Assyrian Martyrs' Day. 1955, on this day, Tokyo's telecommunication engineering, the precursor of Sony, begins selling its first transistor radios in Japan. And in 1990, on this day, August the 7th, the United States deployed troops to Saudi Arabia, beginning Operation Desert Shield. And we now head across to our dish of the day. The daily dish is ready with the kind compliments of our good friends at Tiles Plus. And welcome back to our program for today, for this Wednesday. And of course, our dish has to be, no doubt about it, something julienne. There are lots of dishes out there. I'm seeing juju rice and choo choo macaroni and pie, and lots of other different dishes in Alfredos, of course, pasta Alfredos coming out. And of course, juju is certainly deserving of being our dish of the day today and for some time to come. Because yesterday was, again, just an absolutely astonishing achievement for her. And of course, for the country that whose flag she's flying, that of Saint Lucia, where again on debut, first time in the Olympics, at the age of 23, within 5 days, really, a matter of less than a week, going up against the world's best. And she came out with flying colors again, placing second and winning the silver medal in the women's 200 meters final at the Paris Olympics yesterday. Of course, there was a very, very large crowd out at the Derek Walcott Square and across a number of other parts of St. Lucia where people gathered to view this astonishing moment in history. And she certainly did not disappoint. A brilliant, brilliant effort, given the fact that, of course, she has been going at it for quite some time now. And in preparing and making her country immensely proud at all her efforts. And now, of course, not bringing home just one medal, but two on debut in the Olympics, in the Summer Olympics, has certainly is a remarkable and astonishing feat for Julian Alfred. And she's doing so. I mean, sometimes we think about who she was going up against, for instance, the race favorite who, in fact, managed to win that medal, that gold medal, Gabby Thomas. Uh, of course, yes, she does run the 100 meters, but she did not run the 100 meters this Olympics. She focused and specialized on this one race, this women's 200 meters. That's all she was doing, and she, of course, was able to pull through on behalf of the United States in this instance. But here you have, and again, to put this into context, the United States is putting forward, I think, what, about 600 or so athletes um, in the Olympics for this year. And here you, of course, they're usually going to be talking about maybe coming in with about maybe 30 or 40 gold medals. And here you have a country like St. Lucia with four athletes in the Olympics, just four, and and to think that one of them has in fact not only won one medal, and this is not just winning a bronze medal, which of course is a remarkable feat in and of itself, but actually going on to win almost back to back two medals, gold and silver, at the Olympics is an absolutely fantastic story that is certainly going to be remembered for a very, very long time. United States, the largest contingent, 592 individuals, athletes being put forward thus far. And of course, they've won 24 golds, 32 silvers, and a country putting forward just four athletes has actually, through the remarkable efforts of and singular efforts of Julian Alfred, has in fact come in winning a silver and a gold. It's amazing, but maybe I never realized that St. Lucians, some St. Lucians were such hard taskmasters, in that there were some people who were actually disappointed out there. And of course, yes, we obviously wanted her to get the best result possible. And look at what, and yes, there were some people who say, well, they were really hoping for the gold, but getting medaling in this instance is just absolutely, absolutely phenomenal. And to be bringing in a gold and a silver, two medals in one go, is truly, truly remarkable. In fact, I just noticed a one of those memes going around, and interesting enough, pointing out that again, this is coming from World Athletics, and it actually reads: Julian Alfred is the first athlete at the Paris Games to win two medals since the start of the athletics action on August the 1st. She is the first athlete to win two medals since the start of the athletics action on the 1st of August. And the reality is that a lot of individuals out there, as I mentioned, are going there really for just one event. In some instances, you do have, of course, uh, team efforts, and of course, you'll have people who will be in maybe basketball, football. Of course, you've got people who are in athletics running the relay races. And so you'll have those types of efforts. But in terms of these individual efforts, a remarkable, remarkable achievement by Julian Alfred that is truly, 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 truly outstanding. And as, of course, we had mentioned, with that gold medal, she has placed St. Lucia into a space where so many countries can only dream of being. There are many, many countries out there, as we've mentioned earlier, well, 66 countries right now, who have not been able to gain a gold medal, sorry, gain any medal whatsoever, never medaled at all in the Olympics. And there's some very large countries in that list. For example, the I think the Democratic Republic of Congo finds itself in that list. And I mean, when you consider the scale of the DRC, you can well. This is one of the largest countries in Africa. You're talking about tens of millions of people. I think about 100. Correction, it's about 105 million people in the DRC, and they've not been able to win a medal. And then you can look at countries and say, some may argue, well, maybe uh, it's a matter of absence of resources and training and that sort of thing. And then you have some immensely wealthy countries as well. Um, for instance, in Saudi Arabia, as a good example of that, which we alluded to yesterday. Again, a pretty large population in Saudi Arabia. I think the total population, from what we can see now, is about 32 million inhabitants, and they have never won a gold medal in the Olympics. So where we are placed right now in terms of the sports map is truly outstanding, and where Julian Alfred has placed herself is truly remarkable for the future of her career. And we can, of course, hope and pray that she can continue to get the strength and, of course, the health to be able to continue to participate in more events to come. But certainly is being put on the map to the extent, of course, that everybody wants to claim her now. And we've seen a bit of that coming out of Jamaica, for instance, pointing out that they were the ones who assisted in part of her training over at St. Catherine High School. And we sometimes wonder, I mean, what is really um, the magic in some of these instances? And St. Catherine High School, which is in the parish of St. Catherine in Jamaica, it's not the known as the best school in Jamaica by any stretch of the imagination. Very much certainly a very well respected school, no doubt, in Spanish Town. And one can say, I mean, what the real gem there really is that they have a very large playing field. They've got a pretty decent sized playing field where you can actually there's no set court or track, so to speak. There's no synthetic court or track there in that space, but they've got clearly a very good program, and she was, of course, able to benefit from the training, from the coaching, from that kind of support. And this is really, I think, an important take home for us here in St. Lucia in terms of how best to be able to utilize scarce resources in moving forward in our efforts to be able to realize perhaps even more success at the highest level around the world when it comes to sport or whatever other endeavors. That we certainly have to realize that a lot of it's not even so much about the infrastructure. And it's not to say that the infrastructure is not important. It is, certainly is needed. But in fact, the development of the programming, the people, dealing with the psychosocial supports that are necessary to be able to ensure that somebody can remain in the program. And that, I think, is also another very important factor, because you will have lots of great raw talent, and for want of perhaps not having a meal, or meals available on a daily basis, or for want of not having a somebody or a support person or a mentor or some adults who can be there for that individual and to keep them going and to keep them motivated, we end up losing a lot of talent along the way. We end up not realizing that amazing natural potential that exists. And so I think that is clearly something that we've got to realize has to be part of that challenge. Now, there are a lot of people out there, thank goodness for them, who are very, very passionate about sport, and kudos to them who are continuing to keep these programs running, and then many of them are doing so. They've got to balance it out. So for those who can pay, they collect payment, and those who are not able to pay, they still are providing training and support for many out there. And it's a lot of those programs that we need to see more of and more consistently all around the country and all around our island. Because the reality is, we do have a lot of playing fields. We do have quite a number of facilities out there, and you sometimes have to ask, is it really even being maximized in terms of utilization? And of course, yes, there's a need for the maintenance of these facilities. That, of course, is a whole other major challenge. But so certainly, the that journey towards goal, gold, and that journey towards this drive towards improvement of our sporting endeavors and our general endeavors as well, human endeavors, I think is something that we certainly have to learn. It requires a lot of emphasis on the human being and the totality of the human being, physically, mentally, spiritually, psychologically. All of these things, socially, have to go into that. And there was this lovely piece, I think, that was also being circulated on social media, an early video of Julian participating in an event for UFT Texas Longhorns, and 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 her coach, I believe, and that Edric Floreal, telling her that, look, this is a journey, and she at the time was just a freshman, didn't look too happy because of maybe some result that she had gotten at that point, and looked despondent. And he was making the point, it's a journey. There are going to be ups and there are going to be downs, and there are going to be lots and lots of downs. And so we have to remember this as well, for Julian moving forward, that there will perhaps be more downs as well, and for all of our athletes. But we've just got to be able to continue along that journey and persist. And I think it's really, really a powerful story that Julian is giving to everybody in St. Lucia, everybody, in particular our young population, and of course across the Caribbean, where there are a lot of young people who are seeing that journey too, and coming from the small islands. That's another important aspect that we have to enunciate and put a line under. She's coming from the Lesser Antilles. She's coming from the Windward Islands. She's coming from a small island. And to show that a small island girl is now the fastest woman in the world is a really, really, really amazing story for all people coming from small islands around the Caribbean and around the world. So we have a lot to be thankful for in terms of what she has been able to bring us to at this point in her journey. After so many years, after so many downs, after the number of stops and starts and all of that, that you can now, um, sit back a little bit. And of course, we saw her enjoying some pizza last night. And thanks to those who put that up on the live, the wonders of technology that we can see. the very human nature at play there. So she deserves quite a lot, personally, no doubt about it. And I know there's lots of conversations about how best to honor her in very many different ways, and of course there's a personal reward that certainly needs to be present, but beyond that, of course, the reward of supporting the other Julian Alfreds who want to come out and who want to be able to get out there. I think that also is really important for her and for her legacy, and moving forward as a country in that regard. And of course, in terms of the natural honorific aspects of it, um, we so very often are accused of being a dead hero society, and we only after the fact we want to put up monuments to people, and I think that too is clearly something that has to be thought out. Some people were saying, well, what about a stamp? And of course, no offense to the people in the post office, and people say, well, we don't use stamps anymore. So, but definitely she deserves it all, whether it's the stamps, whether it's the her face on maybe some commemorative uh, dollars coming up in the future. We just saw Grenada take that step in terms of commemorating their 50th independence anniversary. Where I don't think we have to wait for our 50th to do it. But those are the kind of definitely very impactful things that we can look towards achieving. Lots of discourse about, of course, the maybe renaming of certain things. I even heard about the airport, Iwanora International Airport. My take on that one personally is that I don't think we need to forget our own history as well in this effort of honoring our own, and certainly the history of our indigenous peoples, our own identity is really important. And I think Iwanora is in fact a really important name to keep in the memories and identity of ourselves. But there are certainly a number of other opportunities, no doubt, that can be considered in this regard. So, no need to throw out one to embrace new and embrace change. And so, let's hope that we can get it right whenever that opportunity comes for this very, very well deserved celebration to come. That's our dish of the day. When we come back, we'll take in our weather report and then head to the phone line to hopefully take in some calls.
And that's all, of course, on the 1.1 is now time for your weather report as of 12 noon today, presented by Island South Island Bath. The forecast for St. Lucia Valley for the next 24 hours. The winds will be blowing from the east near 16 miles per hour or 26 kilometers per hour, becoming lighter at times. The weather fair to partly cloudy skies with a few brief showers. The forecast for Los Angeles: fair to occasionally cloudy skies with a few light showers, and the tropical weather outlook. The, Atl- the, At- the Atlantic high pressure system will generate light to moderate easterly winds over the eastern Caribbean region during the forecast period. Patches of low level clouds drifting along the wind flow will produce a few showers across parts of the region during the next 24 hours. Two tropical waves located over the central and eastern tropical Atlantic are both moving westward near 12 miles per hour or 19 kilometers per hour. And this was your weather report as of 12 noon today, presented by Island Style Talent Bath.
And welcome back to the lunchroom here at Radio Caribbean International. Now, of course, the number to call in to tell us what's on your plate today, it is 452-3046. Again, 452-3046. And you can also message into our WhatsApp number. It is 724 0008. 724 0008. Some people may be wondering, in terms of overall right now, where the medal count looks like for the rest of for the entire world, as the Olympics are continuing to go on. And if you have a very, very quick look at it, thus far in the world of I think nearly, is it about 206 or so participating countries in the Summer Olympics. Thus far, 70 countries have received at least one medal. And one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine of them have of that 70 have received just one medal, and those include countries like Grenada, for instance. They've only gotten one medal thus far, of course, thanks to Mr. Linton Victor in the decathlon. But countries like Portugal, for instance, have only gotten one. Peru, Iran, Indonesia, Egypt, Cabo Verde or Cape Verde Islands. Austria has only won one medal as well. And of course, we can then look at countries that have won just in, well, the way it's structured, of course, is that the value of your medals, if you've gotten a gold, you will get further and higher up on that list. And so a fair number of countries have not, if only, I think, 45 countries have actually won a gold thus far. And so, in terms of the rankings around the world of the 206 countries, we're currently ranked at number 35 because we've won one gold and one silver. And in that bunch, similar to us, would be countries like Uganda. In fact, we were actually currently ranked higher than um, Taiwan, which competes as Chinese Taipei. They've won one gold and four bronze, five medals in all. but the ranking, of course, as I said, because of that weighting of the types of medals, we've actually ranked higher than them. So currently, we're ranked higher than countries like Cuba, even Norway is up there. Thus far, Jamaica, they tended to do pretty well. They're actually ranked number 50 in the world right now in the current medal count. And I must say, this is still something that is still very active because we still have about 6 more days to go in the Olympics. But currently, Jamaica has picked up 3 silver medals and 1 bronze medal. So a total of 4 medals there. But as I said, because they have not yet picked up that gold, and of course there'll be lots of arguments over Kishan Thompson and that photo finish. But even, of course, Mexico has only been able to pick up 3 medals thus far. Of course, this is the largest country in Central America, and they picked up 2 silver and 1 bronze. So they actually ranked 52 currently. Interesting enough, with in the respect of Cuba, which has also been known for a very, very good sports program, they have 1 gold and 1 bronze medal. So they actually are ranked right now at 41. So certainly St. Lucia is pretty high up there. The other country that actually, 3 countries that are actually in the similar situation with us, with 1 gold and 1 silver medal, include Ecuador as well as Uganda. And Chile. So we all these 4 countries, Chile, Ecuador, Saint Lucia, and Uganda, are currently ranking at 35 in the Olympic rankings. Of course, at the top of the list is the United States of America. They've gotten 24 gold, 32 silver, and 32 bronze medals thus far, a total of 88 medals, followed by China with 23 golds, 22 silver, and 16 bronze medals. So that's a total of 61. Followed by Australia with 39 medals in total. France, 48. Great Britain just after them with 47. Korea, Japan, Italy, the Netherlands, Germany, Canada, Ireland. Of course, now all of these countries have put forward very, very large teams, as you can well appreciate. And so, in fact, if we would have a look maybe at the 2024 Olympics by a number of athletes, you would see, of course, again, as we mentioned, that too is a very, very interesting spread because you would clearly see that the larger countries by far are providing the bulk of the number of athletes participating in the Olympics. So we certainly have, as I said, a lot to be proud of in terms of this effort that has been made by all our St. Lucian athletes who participated in this run of the 33rd Olympiad this year. Now, of course, the number, as I said, to call in to tell us what's on your plate today, it is 452-3046. Again, 452-3046. And you can also call into our WhatsApp number. That is 724-0008. Again, 724-0008. In total, I think for the Summer Olympics, the number is over 10,000 athletes participating in this Olympics, which is happening in France, in for the most part in Paris, but certainly it's also being spread out around the um, I think it's about 329 different events in 32 different sports. And of course, in some of the big ones in swimming and aquatics, you've got swimming, and you've got water polo, you've got marathon swimming, you've got diving, artistic swimming. There's archery, you've got athletics. And of course, in the athletics division, which is where the Caribbean has been performing pretty well, particularly in the sprints, in like the 100 meters, the 200 meters, the 400 meters. There are 48 different athletics events. It is, in fact, the heaviest of all the various sports involved. Badminton. There's basketball as well. There's 3x3 basketball as well as the typical five-a-side basketball. Boxing. 13 events in boxing. There's breaking, canoeing, cycling, and in cycling there's BMX racing, freestyle, mountain biking, road, and track. There are a number of equestrian events as well, about 6 of them. Fencing, 12 events there. It is a sport, of course, we haven't seen too much of here in St. Lucia, although I do believe there was an individual who was hoping to participate in that. And there were attempts, I know, for instance, at St. Mary's College some years back to actually have introduced the sport of fencing. Field hockey, and that is 2 separate events. Football, 2 events. Golf is in the mix. Gymnastics, which has about 18 different events, including trampoline, rhythmic, and artistic gymnastics. Handball, 2 events. Of course, that's a team sport. Judo, 15 events there. Pentathlon, 2 events. Rowing, 14 events. Rugby, with rugby sevens, that is, 2 events. Sailing, which we are, in fact, we participated in one of those events with that's Luc Chevrier, and 10 sailing events. Shooting, 15 events there. Skateboarding, sports climbing, surfing, table tennis, taekwondo, tennis, triathlon, volleyball, weightlifting, and wrestling. So there is certainly quite a lot of different sports out there. And of course, we have generally been participating in 2, well, let's say 3 sports, that of athletics. And of course, we've seen participation in pole vault, in the 400 meters, in the high jump, in, of course, now, oh, sorry, also the men's 100 meters. We've sent individuals before for that. We've seen, of course, we did a 4x4 at one point as well, back in 1996, and as well some other, well, and of course now we've medaled in the women's 100 and women's 200 meters. It's not the first time that we've sent individuals to run. I think Michelle Baptiste ran the women's 100 meters some years back as well. Thus far, St. Lucia's, the highest we've ever sent in terms of delegation size is 6, and the smallest 2. And I think we've averaged about 4 over the years. And so this is generally what we've been looking at in terms of overall participation. Well, I have no doubt about it. Come Los Angeles in 2028, I'm suspecting there'll be quite a lot of pressure to see whether we can, in fact, qualify for a lot more of these events, and to put in perhaps a larger delegation of athletes in the Olympic Games, which is due to be held in Los Angeles, California in 2028, and then Brisbane, Australia in 2032. But as I was mentioning, in terms of the sizes of these various delegations. The United States tops that list with 592 athletes participating. China has 405 athletes in the mix. Of course, other very large delegations will include Great Britain, and they, I believe, I'm trying to get the exact figure for them as we go through the list. Yes, Great Britain is, sorry, before that, France, I should mention, is 573. A very, very large delegation there, of course, for the host country. Great Britain, 327 athletes going forward. And of course, within that mix, you have somebody of St. Lucian origin. And we saw her running up against Julian Alfred in the semis, I believe it was, of the 100 meters. That is Imani Lancico. I believe she actually is from the Lancico family of Canaries, former parliamentary secretary Mr. Cyprian Lansco would be her uncle, I believe. So you've got these very, very large delegations. Germany sending over 400 athletes. Spain nearly 400, 383 athletes going into the this year's Olympics. Countries like the Netherlands, for instance, 258 athletes. New Zealand, 195. So certainly some massive European delegations, and one can argue it's happening in Europe, but this is been the trend, of course, over the years that you're seeing, of course, the countries that have a lot of resources, of course, very well resourced. They can, in fact, support very, very large teams. Canada has over 315 athletes in the mix. We did mention, for instance, the Democratic Republic of Congo not too long ago. They have only 6 athletes. So, in as much as they have a population of 106 million people, they've actually only sent 6 athletes to the Olympics. And you can even compare that to a relatively small country like Puerto Rico, U.S. territory. There are 51 athletes from Puerto Rico. The Philippines, they won their second gold ever just very recently, and they're sending 22 athletes in the mix. So, invariably, quite a number of countries are just sending about 4 athletes, and this was the case from a lot of countries in the Caribbean. For instance, Dominica only 4. St. Lucia, of course, as we know, was only 4. St. Vincent and the Grenadines, 4. Barbados, I believe, as well, sent a delegation of just 4 as well. So, yeah, certainly. And then, Antigua and Barbuda actually had a delegation of 5. In terms of the larger delegations in the Caribbean, Jamaica sent a group of 58 athletes. And I believe that is followed by the Bahamas and Trinidad and Tobago, where they are sending 18 athletes each. So I'm suspecting, and maybe this would be a bit of an interesting little exercise that I could try to do at some point, would be to actually give the breakdown of the number of athletes by region around the world. And I suspect we would see that it's definitely going to be significantly skewed towards Europe and North America in terms of overall participation. The largest delegation from Africa, I believe, would be South Africa with about 149 athletes. And I suspect that would be followed by Egypt with 148 athletes. Nigeria, for instance, most populous country in Africa, sent a delegation of 88. And sometimes we know that there are issues even with respect to the total numbers sent. Some people unfortunately didn't get registered in time, and what have you. So you do have that challenge, of course, in terms of the actual numbers of people being able to be sent to those games is in of themselves very interesting. And to perhaps at some point we would have to try to work out the per capita medal count based on athletes actually participating as well in these games to perhaps give some context to how really impressive the feat of what Julian Alfred has been able to achieve in this mix really is. And of course, as we mentioned yesterday, that gold medal, which was actually won um, only since 1928, when we saw the commencement of the women's 100 meters, only 9 countries have actually won that gold medal, St. Lucia being the ninth one. And so that really gives you a sense as to how small a group um, of of countries there were before this point for those types of races, and how competitive it has been. So it has certainly been a very sweet victory for her to be medaling. Of course, bringing back that gold and that silver medal. But of course, as with many people say, we like to do things in twos here in St. Lucia with our two Twin Peaks, as well as our two Nobel laureates. And now we've got 2 medals at the Olympics. So, certainly, again, cannot say it enough. Kudos and congratulations to Julian on her amazing feat at the Olympics. And of course, hopefully, she can now get some well deserved rest and perhaps maybe even do some sightseeing as well over in Paris and in France. Of course, there are a few other things that we want to touch on for the rest of the week. The matter of U.S. politics, of course, and you notice that Kamala Harris has now chosen her running mate, and that is Mr. Valls, and he is 60 years old, Tim Walz, and has been chosen by Kamala Harris to also go up in that upcoming election in November. Very interesting to see how that continues to pan out, of course, in the United States. And so we'll be looking into that a little bit tomorrow, hopefully. And as well, here, lots of conversation about healthcare, in particular OKEU, the Owen King EU Hospital, and the overall state of healthcare. Hearing some things out there that are not quite correct. Some were arguing about, well, we spend more money in tourism than in education and health. That is actually not true. I mean, from a public spending perspective, that is very incorrect. Um, when you look at GDP, gross domestic product, the size of your economy, that's one aspect of it, right? And that is a measure of the economic activity that is going on within the country. But that does not actually represent a breakdown of government spending by sector. That represents the amount of economic activity by sector. So you may look at education and healthcare in the GDP figures, and you might see, say, 10%, and you might then think, well, we see hotels and accommodation and all these other things. It's a larger figure, but that's the size of the economic activity, private sector included, of course. When you're talking about government spending, in fact, education and healthcare are some of the leading figures. Education, number one, in fact, in terms of overall spend. A lot of that money, of course, goes towards the salaries of the teaching staff. And so that's a major, major item within the spending that you actually see within central government. So just thought I wanted to correct that because I did hear something to that effect being suggested out there. But we'll be getting more into that whole issue of OKE hopefully tomorrow on the lunchroom. We do hope that you have a good one. I'm your host, Calix George Jr., saying goodbye.